Hey there, folks. Hey, welcome back. Gotta get that. There we go. Tried to fall off once. Better be careful. Anyway, hey, welcome back. We're gonna do a little knife series here. It's a knife for a buddy of mine's boy. He's a cowboy. So I'm gonna make him the pattern that I'm calling the Idaho Cowboy. I'll get you off the stand there. Glad y'all made it. Okay, we're back. I had the microphone plugged in on the stand, so I had to shut you off, take the mic off so I could move you. Anyway, here we go. We got this, excuse me, is what I call the Idaho Cowboy. And let's see if we can get you up close and personal. Yeah, that's an old Oregon bar, solid bar. I believe it was like for a 1010 mount, those PM 1010s and all those. It was wore out. I didn't have anything to put it on. Well, I did, but I didn't want to put it on anything. It just was wore out. So I'm thinking what we're gonna do on this, and we might end up calling this the Copper Cowboy. We're gonna try to use the ends of these spurs I started building. We're gonna use them up in here in the bolster and the end cap area there. Mix them in with some nice dark, let's see, where's it at? Got some nice ebony scales that I cut out yesterday. We'll see which size works, you know, thickness wise for us. I think it should be a nice, excuse me, boy, I'm froggy this morning. Nice combination. Now, some of you probably saw the short that I threw up, the midweek Ripa, on this here picaroon that I built. That's all hand forged. Started out life as the point of a pickaxe. And being so, we didn't end up with much of an eye there. And I just chunked it on that handle real quick to see if it'd work, see if the profile is right. I think it is. I like it. Seems to work pretty good. So we will be doing some videos on redesigning this. It just needs to be bigger. Needs to come down here a little more. I'd like to see that eye socket about that deep, and I'm gonna have to make some more punches because I want that to be a lot bigger there, at least like that, the size of a good 30 ounce ball peen hammer. So we'll get you set back up over here. We got to do some grinding. This has been, of course, cut out. You can see that. And I annealed it to soften it up to make it a little bit easier to sand on and grind on. So first thing we'll do is just clean this scale up. We got to get a center mark cut in there so we know what we're doing, and we'll start putting bevels on this. So hang tight, we'll get back at her. Okay, so what we've got here on the grinding sander, grinder, whatchamacallit, is a Scotch-Brite belt. They come in different grits, and they're color coded so you can tell what grit they are. And these ones are getting a little wore out. We're gonna give them a try. You can actually finish the knife blade with this. It doesn't leave scratches like sandpaper. Now I don't know how it's gonna work to remove this mill scale, but being as how it doesn't leave as bad a scratch, I at least want to try it. So let's give her a try here. Get on my safety glasses. And we'll go to town. And you'll watch. They're a little tight, so you gotta get a kickstart. It's kind of working. If it wasn't so wore out, I think it'd work a little better. There's one thing I want to show you is, yeah, get her to focus on there. Come on. Well, you can see them. There's part numbers on that. I hope they grind out. I hope they're not too deep, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw some sandpaper on here, clean it up, and I'll bring you back when we're done. Now, okay, we got her cleaned up about as good as we need to at this point. So, put it on this wood so maybe you can see it better, a little better contrast. What we need to do now is figure out how thick we are. And I'm using the metric system because it's easier sometimes than decimals when you're having to do dividing and subtracting. And so we got 4.32 is going to be, what's 4.32? Half of 4 is 2, half of 32 is going to be 16, so 2.16 will be our center line. See if we can get her there. Whoop. Oh, I saw it. There we go. 2.14. We're going to call that close enough. So, we'll grab our Sharpie. That mill scale would have worked, but we'll put the Sharpie on there anyway, make us feel better. Then we're gonna just scribe a center line on there. Might have been better if we'd have shined that up and then put the marker on there so that that line showed up a little better, but we'll scratch her in there. We'll get it. Do it from both sides. It just kind of helps you see center. You know, if your scribe or calipers or whatever aren't exactly where they need to be, that'll help keep her true. All right. So I don't know that you'll be able to see that line, but there's a line there. Then what we got to do is decide how far we want our bevels to come up in here. I want them to be fairly deep, so we're going to come up, let's say like that. Yeah, I like that. We can work with that. All right, let's see if we can duplicate that. This is the hard part. Where did that go? Maybe I can use this to give me a good starting point. Yeah, I thought we were a little off on that one. Let's get rid of that. Okay, now maybe I can do this again. Oop, gotta do it from the same side, dummy. So we went. That needs to come up a little quicker right there. So let's see if we can get her to do it. Yeah, that's better. All right. So we'll know that we got to go to that top line. Get that off of there. Yeah, that looks way better. Okay. So now what we'll do is give ourselves two colors. I'm going to go above that green line with this black marker. And it's just going to give us a spot to stop. We'll know where we're at. We can keep using that green marker as we're grinding our bevels in to show us where we've been. And this is where we don't want to go. So that line that way really doesn't mean anything. I just can't color inside the lines if there aren't lines. All right. Now we'll color, excuse me, color the rest of this in. Is that going to give us enough ricasso? Let's call the ricasso area right here. I think we want more ricasso than that. Let's get our pattern out and look. Yeah. So in my pattern, you can see that ricasso comes almost up to here. I don't think we want to go that far. We'll go to here. How's that? And that will be where we start our plunge line. And it'll be what it is. We'll get her ground in there straight. Those don't mean anything. Okay, color it in. All right. We'll get the sander set back up and we will start cutting. Okay, so we're going to establish our plunge lines here. I'm going to start on this side because I can't get the belt to run over to this side of this platen good. So I may have to take that off and do some grinding on it. It's what you get for buying cheap equipment. But what we're going to try to do is take that right in at that line on a pretty decent angle. And we're going to hit that turkey and establish that plunge line. Okay, so what we're doing is establishing this plunge line right here. We're going to try to keep them even. And as you can see now, we've got a very good contrast between our colors. And we're going to sneak up on this bevel. This is a 60 grit ceramic for these rough cuts. So we'll take this up to that line at 60, and then we'll change up to some 80 and 120 as we go, and we'll just keep putting that color back on there. That tells us that we've got all the scratch marks out from the last abrasive grit. This is the first time I've actually done it this way. I've been watching lots of videos, and the guys doing this, it just seems to make sense. And I'm freehanding. Usually I try to make this little magnet jig thing work, but this table, it just moves. No matter how tight I get everything, it just moves, and I have trouble keeping those bevels the same. So we're gonna just try to freehand it and see if we're better than a cheap table. So I'll get going. I'll take this first grit up, and then we'll bring you back. Okay, let's see what we got here. We've got our bevel established. We got a pretty good plunge line going there. There's the other side. So this side would be my left hand pulling, and it's not quite as good as the right hand side, but good enough. So what we'll do, we'll switch the grits on the belt, we'll remark this, and we'll start taking those scratches out. I gotta get this side up a little more right there, I think. Yeah, I'll work on that. We'll change grits and be back. All right, so I've been doing some thinking. We got this guy down to 80 grit. 80 grit scratches in there. And we need to be able to put a handle on this, and we got to harden this, and I don't want it to be really shiny when I take it in and do the hardening, because then it just smuts it all up, and you got to grind it anyway again to get her clean. So we got our bevels established. I'm going to start figuring out what to do with that. Get some holes drilled. Get our handles roughed in anyway so that we know what we're doing there, and then we're going to harden it. So I'll end this video here. Appreciate everybody showing up. We'll keep going on this one and see where we get. So I'll flip you around. Hopefully you can see me. You guys have a wonderful day. Go out and get you some.